theoretically, she could still. Okay, there we go. So I'm not. I handed the keys to Rachel. I was always a little concerned as far as the timing goes, but I basically ran out of the appointment and yelled for Rachel to call Autumn immediately and take the panel live. So, all right. Good to see everybody.
Hello.
How are hangouts today?
Great.
They were good.
Oh, fantastic!
Always enjoyable.
It's cool to see other people, and everyone is so excited to see all you guys.
Well, it's happy to be here. This is my second time, I think, with Color World. I don't know if it's your Greg and Jack's second time as well. Yeah, so good to be back. It's good chatting with everybody. Happy Saturday. Good afternoon.
This is my first time, so if I do any faux pas, you'll let me know.
You got it,
You can do no wrong, James. Cabbage Man can do no wrong.
Yeah, you can do it. Trust me. You'll be fine. You'll be just fine.
It's so funny. I feel like such an outlier because the three of you have done such amazing, textured, funny, multi-layered work, and I have 2 lines or 2 words.
Two very iconic words.
They're iconic words. That's exactly the word. Iconic.
Because who was the most popular during Halloween for the last 3 years? You were.
Really?
You were.
Sure. Gotta be.
No.
So many people dressed up as the cabbage merchant, but then also as a cabbage. I would see a lot of couples outfits where one person would be a cabbage and the other person would be the cabbage merchant. So you've impacted a lot of lives, James. I promise.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I feel good to be a small part of this universe. You know,
James, were you the first episode you played the cabbage merchant? I assume that was just like an incidental, right? Were you playing like a different part?
I was playing that and the guard.
Okay. And then you just threw in this one line, and then they were like, "Come back and do that line a bunch more times."
Oh my
God. No, they didn't say, "Oh, you have this amazing multi-season arc as the cabbage merchant. You're definitely coming back." There was none of that.
Well, it was a pleasure tormenting you across many nations.
And we're sorry. We're sorry for all the damage.
Yeah, you guys owe him some cabbages.
Yeah,
we owe you a lot of cabbage.
No,
a lot.
A lot of James, that was you too in Legend of Korra, right? They brought you back to,
to play my grandson. my cabbage core. So, yes. Oh, look.
Yeah, now you have a whole company called the Yes.
Yes.
Often say cabbages are the best.
World's famous.
Wow.
That's lit.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So then they called you for Legend of Korra. Were you like, really? Like, it was that big of a deal? Like, you want me to do it? Like, what did you think when they called you about coming back for Legend of Korra?
I was just happy that they called me. You know what I mean? I think that, because so many people loved Avatar, and I did too. I was a fan. So when Korra came up, I was just happy to be thought of again, for a callback. So I was happy about that.
Well, that was one of the many videos that we found in getting ready for this weekend was your revenge on the Avatar for the damage of the cabbage destruction. And then, you had built the entire Cabbage Corporation, but then which subsequently got blamed for all the terrible things that happened in Legend of Korra.
It's like the House of Atreus. He's just a cursed house of cabbages.
Has there ever been a vegetable that's been that, like, what vegetable have we ever given that hard a time other than?
I'm trying to think. What other vegetables were in Avatar?
Well, I'm just in general. I'm just trying to think. Is there like?
I assume on VeggieTales, did they ever do like a Job story? Some zucchini as Job? I don't know.
Oh man. Is there any sort of crossover, Jack? Have you ever heard like of a cabbage joke in VeggieTales? That would have been amazing.
So I'm weirdly, I'm not that up on VeggieTales. I'm not like that deep in the VeggieTales fandom, but I guess I should be.
Yeah,
I definitely.
I assume
The songs are so good.
There's some real classics in there, yeah.
For sure.
I didn't grow up with it. It was like I didn't discover it until later, but they got some bangers for sure.
Oh, I was in my 20s before I realized what VeggieTales. It was like my friends I was in college with going to like the Baptist Student Union. They're like, "You don't know what VeggieTales is?" Like, I'm sorry, I didn't have very religious parents.
That's why. Yeah, I watched it when I was younger because I wasn't really allowed to watch TV, but we did have some VHSs of VeggieTales, and then we would watch it in Sunday school sometimes. That's a thing. And I honestly forgot about the religious connection until
yeah.
And then I was like, oh yeah, duh, I watched it in church. It's all coming back to me now. And sometimes it's
That's why. Yeah.
so funny. Wow. Yeah, it's been like a decade and a half since I've watched any VeggieTales. That's funny.
My kids used to watch. I remember
Well,
my kids watching.
that's huge credit to them.
Yeah. What were you
Well,
saying?
huge credit to them that you just had that moment right now where you realized it was like religiously like focused.
They snuck it in there.
Yeah. Plug it in, flat it in.
That was your generation's.
Okay, what was
Davy and who was it? Davy and
Goliath. Now that when I was a kid, Davy and Goliath.
Right, that was me too.
And that message was quite overt. It was like not even
Yeah.
Davy, hey Davy. And I don't know if you ever saw there was a takeoff on it several years later called Moral Oral. It was a takeoff on Davy and Goliath.
Yes, but
funny and very
inappropriate.
Very dark. Very dark.
Was that like Adult Swim or?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
I think it was.
It's I think it's Dino Stamatopoulos.
That's exactly who it was.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's funny and dark.
Very dark.
About as dark as it can get. In fact, memo to me: watch Moral World.
Well, that's what you're gonna do tonight when we're done. Let's go watch that.
I'm gonna go. No, actually, I came to this bread making thing rather late in the pandemic. So as soon as I'm done here, my Italian loaf is going into the oven. So I'm very excited.
Nice.
And then we're coming over for dinner, right?
It's on its second rise right now, and
there we go.
And I am so glad. It's fun, but I am glad it's late in the pandemic because it's not doing. I started off fat. It's
got way too hard. Yeah,
that's so funny.
I just got a book.
Now, are you a sourdough guy at all?
You know what? We were supposed to. We don't have any starters. Somebody was supposed to give us some. They were bring it. They were going to bring it from LA, and they did not. So we don't have any starter as yet. I just have a cookbook where I've been going through, and there's a special. I can't believe I'm talking about bread. Just particular bread. It's an Italian loaf, but it's got onion powder and garlic powder. It's rather savory.
Yeah.
And my wife discovered that it's really delicious with butter and strawberry jam in the morning. And it is. It really is. Go figure. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I've been using the book Flour, Water, Salt, and Yeast. It's a book, and it's a really simple way of making bread. If you follow the directions, it'll just make a beautiful loaf every time.
It really is. Of course, I mean, it also we finally got a decent mixer, because you're kneading by hand. That's a pain in the butt. This is actually I like it. Cooking chills me out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing.
My wife and I, we had a baby a year ago, right at the beginning of this. So March 8th. Frankie's now a year old.
Good.
I was like, it would be super cool to start a sourdough starter that's as old as she, like start it right when she's born, and then it'll be as old as she is. And that was like my big ambition. And then I was like, no, I don't have the time to like nurse a sourdough. We have a 3-day-old baby. What the hell was that? So that never happened. Never happened.
Oh no!
But it can be.
I
It
thought
can
you-
be 2 years younger than her. The sourdough can
Okay.
be almost her age. You know, we'll get there eventually.
Almost.
Jack, how
So
how has
have you
been
started it?
having a baby during the pandemic? As far as, do you feel like you had a lot of time to be just you guys?
Yeah, I would say that's been the great benefit of it, is like she's getting certainly more like 2-on-1, the whole family's here, we're all hanging out, attention than she would have gotten if Lisa and I were both working and passing her back and forth. You know, we're around so much more, and I think that's fantastic. We missed, you know, it was really tough. My parents live really close, but they were here for like the first couple of weeks, and then my mom had to go back to work, and then so then we didn't see them for like 5 months, and like losing that chunk of not having their support and her not being able to interact with her grandparents, like that stuff is tough.
Yeah.
But I think we're lucky that she's this age. I talk to my friends with kids who are like 3, and my nieces are 3 and 6, and like that seems like a whole nother. I think she's hopefully not going to remember any of this, and is you know. But it's been great to be around so much.
Well, it's crazy.
Not that I would have just been gone.
But it's been such a popular year. I think some were unplanned, but then I think a lot were planned, because there was that recognition of, oh wait, there's this like at home time that is just unparalleled whenever everything is actually open and functioning. Like, what a great little nugget to just spend time with your baby and not have to go anywhere and have the excuse be like, I have a child and it's COVID. I'm not existing and I can't see you. I'm raising a family. Bye. So it's, I don't know. It's kind of cool that you had her relatively, I'm assuming it wasn't planned that COVID was going to happen, but you got to like have such.
No, we weren't banking on that.
Cool. That's so cool. I think that it's like the best. Yeah. Like you said, it's the best time.
Oh, I can't imagine being at home with teenagers. Like with if my teenagers have been, oh my God, I don't know what I would have done. I don't know how parents do that.
Yeah.
If you want to know all about it, Greg, you just call me anytime, bro. I have 2 teenagers. I will tell you all of the horror stories that you want.
I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine. You know, the good thing is once my kids stopped being teenagers, they became great. Once they went to college and grew up a little bit, they were fantastic. They were my best friends.
Right.
Teenagers.
No, I was lucky too, because my son went off to college and he was able to go to college. So we didn't have that, you know, cramped teenager energy in the house. So that was good.
Was he living in dorms during this time, or he just lived? Wow.
He went to NYU, or he is in NYU, and just rigorous testing every week. And everybody, I mean, it was sad in a way, because he called the other day and he was like, I didn't think that college would be so lonely. And I wanted to tell him, no, college is the opposite. That's where you meet people, just not right now. So, you know, because everybody has to be socially distant.
Yeah.
It's been hard.
Yeah. But I mean, it's kind of cool that he because it's such a, I mean, New York is amazing, first of all. And so it's kind of a combination deal where like that lonely feeling happens in New York just because there's so many people and then it's just you. So sometimes you feel like you're not even a person. But it's like anybody who even has a hint of like, I don't know, starting a parade, starting a march, like, oh, everybody's like getting together at Washington Square Park to just like dance. He gets to do all of that stuff, which is so cool. Like,
right. Yes. Yeah. And he loves being in New York. So it's great.
Yeah, for sure.
My son's in New York as well. He loves it. He loves it there.
I miss
How old
it.
is he?
How
old is he?
My son is 25 or 26.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my daughter and my son are 11 months apart, so I can never remember which ones. You know, I think my daughter's 26 and he's 25. I think, but you know, don't quote me on that. I hope they're not watching this. They're not. I assure you.
How many kids do you have?
Just 2. Just the 2, boy and a girl.
Do you ever mix up their names?
Yeah, I mess up a lot of names now. I don't know what you call a chair anymore. You know, it happens. You know,
I don't know. I don't know how it started. I more and more, the older I get, the more I'm like, I'll say a name and then I'll instantly be like, I'm sorry, that's not your name. I'm aware that you're not that child that I just called you. Because my mom she would start with my dad or my brother, and then she would call me the other one that she didn't call me the first time, and then I'd be like, I'm Brad. Whenever you get to that name, I'm.
That's me.
Yeah,
Second pair.
David Adam Bradley is my name, and so she would go down the list, and then she would arrive at and then I started doing it to my parents moved in with us. Maybe it's just having my mom around. I feel like I didn't call them the wrong name until my mom moved in with us, and now I can't get any of their names straight. Okay. What was the last thing that you watched from Avatar: The Last Airbender? Greg, what was the last thing that you watched?
You know what? Actually, recently, I actually started watching Korra again. I actually did start watching Korra. It was on Netflix. I was like, wow, you know what? I don't think I ever watched the whole series.
Yeah.
So I started. I was very impressed with the look of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks so different from Avatar. They're a very different look.
Yeah.
And it's
I
interesting.
gotta watch it.
It's interesting that they have, for me, a technological society, but they also have all this basically magic as well. It's an interesting show. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's like steampunk. I really dig them, and of course, I'm a raging feminist, so a female Avatar. I was all about that lady Avatar. All right, James, what was the last thing you watched from the Avatar universe?
I did the same thing. I hadn't watched all of Korra, so I'm now in, I think, the middle of season 2.
Yeah.
And it's been great seeing the animals are kind of, it's the same world, but at the same time, it's evolved into something totally different. Yeah. So I've been really enjoying that. Yeah.
All right, Michaela, what's the latest thing you watched in the universe?
I actually think the last time I watched anything from the universe was the finale of Dante's stream back in December, because then I moved to Los Angeles, and it's been crazy. And I thought we were supposed to start Korra, but then his film, came out. Brothers, and so he's been busy. So that was actually the last thing I watched. But I finished season 3 of Korra last year, and I just haven't finished season 4, and then I'll be done. So
I have never watched Korra. It's time. I gotta do it.
At all?
I've seen pieces. I've seen parts of it. but I have not actually truly watched it.
Yeah.
So it's time. I got to start soon.
So what's the last thing you did watch from the universe?
Same as Michaela. We together watched the finale of season 3.
I think I missed that for some reason. I hope he starts up again because I missed day drinking on Friday. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lovely it really just sitting in the closet and getting drunk in the afternoon was a really important part of quarantine for me.
That's awesome. So Michaela, yeah, I was surprised. I was like, oh, you're Eastern time zone, and you're like, no, I'm Pacific. Was that planned? Did you just wake up one morning and you're like, I'm going to LA? Tell me.
So we meaning my boyfriend and myself, and all the voices in my head, we're like, okay, at some point, I'd like to go back to Los Angeles. I think just because I do like being on screen / in the studio, and of course, there's plenty of TV in New York, but New York is expensive and hard to live in if you don't make 6 figures. So it was just kind of a point of I love being here. This is great. Do I want to be here when I'm 30? I don't think so. So I was like, at some point around 28, I'll probably finish up whatever I'm doing, maybe do one more thing, and then start shifting west. And then COVID happened, and it was kind of well, I guess this is my clue, just to take this pause and make the move now, because if I stay, it's going to be a whole, process of rebuilding everything back in New York anyway. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just take this and then hop over. And so I wasn't really sure when exactly during quarantine, but somewhere along the way, it was kind of January 1st, right after New Year's, get in the U-Haul, drive west. And that's what I did.
That's awesome. Now, was it tough to find a place, or is it easy? I have no idea. We bought a house, obviously, in quarantine, but was it easy to find a place?
I'm jealous that you bought a house. It's funny, actually, both of you, the people who are buying houses and having babies. I was like, I feel like if I were 5 years older, so many things would be happening that would be like such a great opportunity right now, but like I am not at that point yet. So there's plenty of housing here, and it's yes, like expensive, I guess, but in my head it's not, because you're also getting space. Whereas in New York, you're just getting location most of the time. And you know, I was lucky enough actually that my my family friend who's came to my high school graduation, all this jazz. Her mom, I'm actually staying in her mom's house right now. I'm like house sitting basically, because her mom is in physical therapy for like, she hurt her hip. So she was hopping back and forth trying to like keep track of both houses and like water lawns and take out trash and like do all this stuff. And I was like, hi, hello, why don't I come do this for you until, mother returns. And then I can also gauge a little bit more about how things have changed, because I haven't been here since high school. So like, do I want to be in Sherman? Do I want to be in Hollywood? Do I want to be in downtown LA? Do I like Burbank? I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of my.
That's awesome.
Where are you now?
I'm literally 4 blocks away from Olivia Hack in Burbank.
In Burbank, I lived in Burbank for 30 years.
I'm on
on Hollywood Way and Magnolia. I lived right there. Yeah, couple of blocks.
Spark Street and like Olive and Alameda, kind of. Right.
You must be happy that you've moved here during the pandemic, just because you can walk more and be away from people more. And
it's, it's kind of weird because Los Angeles is open again. Everything has started, but it doesn't feel like it has. It's very strange because you still don't go to in-person auditions. You still can't walk onto the Disney lot for fun as like a guest or whatever. It's still all closed. The gates are all closed, whatever. But like, they're still filming. They're still recording. Like, things are still happening. It's just not as obvious. So it's a very interesting mentality to be in, because it's like, oh, everything's paused. And it's like, no, it's not. You just have to hustle online all the more, like, harder. And our version of getting a child was actually getting this puppy. So there you go. I had time to spend with him and walk him, and he might need to pee here in a second. So I might have to go put him down because we're on the couch. So we will see. But yes, it's been nice coming during this little pause, because it doesn't feel quite as chaotic. Coming, for sure.
The universe with Dante Bosco, the alien golden record, is that the last Chris and Jack we have? Is there something that's newer than that? Tell me about.
No, that's it for right now. Basically, we pre-shot a ton of stuff before the pandemic hit, and then slowly released that over the last year. And we just haven't been able to shoot anything in person. So we have plenty of scripts that we're sitting on, and once it's safe, we're very excited to shoot a bunch of stuff. But we're kind of thinking about a couple of things that we can shoot like remotely. But current plan is to wait, and once we can get fully back out there, shoot some more stuff. And so hopefully we'll be releasing again within, a couple months.
Now, do you have a project that you're working on in the meantime, or are you?
Chris and I together are also, we're working on a couple of writing things. Nothing to really talk about, and then I'm working on a couple of cartoons. Dragon Prince is starting back up again soon. Haven't gotten into the booth on it yet, and then I have another thing that I've been working on. We're like multiple seasons into it, but none of it's been announced or released. James pops up. We can't talk about it yet, I don't think, but James and I reconnected doing an episode of a thing, but very excited about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there was a fan that was so hyped, Jack, when we did the Dragon Prince event, that he offered to buy everyone on the cast copies of, right?
Oh, what's up? Yeah.
I'm about to mail these out to everybody.
Oh, fantastic.
He's going to co-host, because he was like, what's your thought on this? What's your thought? And we were all like, what are you talking about? And so I have this box.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's something to look forward to. That'll be arriving in the mail. It's gorgeous. He bought us the hardcovers.
Those look really nice. That's so nice of him. Wow.
I'm really excited. When somebody's that passionate, I was like, dude, you're co-hosting this with me. You're getting to meet everybody. Like, we're going to make this a thing. Great.
Did people like Through the Moon? I've heard good things. You haven't read it yet.
I haven't. We just got the box, and we're, I'm super.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to read it.
I can't wait. There's be a lot of postage to Canada, but we're gonna get them there. Greg, are you directing?
Oh, good heavens, no! I've never directed, and I don't want to. I'm one of those rare actors that's the one thing I never, ever, ever want to do. I have no interest at all in it.
So I was thinking, every time I email you, I was like, Greg must be some big shot director, and so no directing, just acting.
No, yeah, just acting. You know what? I'm too lazy to be a director. Directors have to have all the answers, you know. Directors is like, you know, I just want to like, tell me what to do, tell me how to say the line. Okay, I'm going home now. Thank you.
That's so.
Yeah, I honestly, it's an odd thing. I literally have, and a lot of actors, that's what they want to do. It's just something it does not.
Okay.
At this stage in my life, no, I'd rather just take it easy, you know.
Do you want to? So you're baking bread. Is there anything else that you have that's your side hustle, or did you like go to Albuquerque to just retire?
I'm still. I'm on one of the. We're into our second season on a Disney show called. I think they changed the name. The Ghost and Molly McGee, I think it's called. But it hasn't. I don't think it's going to hit the air until next year. But we're on our second season for that. And you know, just hanging out here. I wouldn't say semi-retired because I'm actually more busy than I used to be, really, in some ways. Yeah, just doing that. I got a video game that I can't talk about, and the usual sort of stuff.
Yep.
The difference is when I came to Albuquerque, I assumed I'd be going back to LA. We moved here March 1st, 2020.
Yeah.
You know, so
Wow.
I assumed LA is, an hour and a half by air. I'm sitting here. This was designed just to be a closet where I could audition. But then the pandemic hit, and suddenly it became a lot more expensive. This is where I have to do the gigs now. But the commute is fantastic. It sure beats Santa Monica at 5 o'clock.
I'm very curious how much that's gonna stay. Like for voiceover stuff, I'm really curious. Like,
I know
how many things will just stay remote record and stuff. Because I same thing. I like built a whole setup and it's been working well. And I'm curious, like, what percentage of things will be, going back to studios versus staying remote.
And they seem very happy with what's coming out of our booths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even virtual auditions for on-camera stuff too. I feel like so much stuff is going to be like, oh, we don't have to rent a space for these auditions.
Oh, that I hate though. That's killing me.
No, I don't like it either. But
I feel like I'm so bad at remote auditions for on camera. I hate it. We'll see. But yeah, probably.
It'll be interesting to see what happens just in general after this is over. How many of these corporations are going to say it's time for you to come back? Because now that that genie's out of the bottle, it's like you can't say, "Oh, well, you're not getting the work done at home." Everybody is getting the work done.
Yeah, if we're not having to pay for downtown office spaces, why not? Yeah.
Right. I mean, in a perfect world, I'd love to see it all, go to low-cost public housing. But of course, that's not the way the world works.
No,
certainly not the way corporations work.
Right.
Not the way that LA will work.
I do miss the group records in person. Just the community, being with other people. Even though we did a group record, I did one with Jack for this unnamed project, and that was kind of fun. But it's I miss the bodies.
Yeah, it's different over Zoom. I don't think I'm good. I know I'm nowhere near as good as like the professional engineers I've worked with in terms of like trying to mix myself while I'm recording. There's a definite loss there, but
yeah.
Well, it's funny because it's almost like voice actors became vestigial in their engineering skills, because for so long it was, don't touch the mic, we'll do it for you.
Right.
She's coming in to adjust the mic. And now we're having to do everything. And it's kind of blows my mind. Like, I have to learn how to turn this knob and do that thing.
We all have to become D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah. Oh, it blew my mind. They wanted me to, when the Samurai Jack video game was coming out, I think they wanted to film me as a special playing the game. So they sent this equipment to my house in Albuquerque and the lights and everything else. And I'm sitting there on a Zoom meeting with LA and the directors and everybody. So not only I'm talking to them, setting up the set, basically lighting it, and sitting in the. It was really quite a. It was an education, man. I learned more, I think, in that day than I learned in 20 years, because I learned sort of what everybody's doing because I'm actually literally having to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So if you could, would you keep it 75-25? Would you keep it 50-50? If you get to choose the mix of work from home, record from home, and record in studio, what would you do?
100% in studio.
Would you really? You legit? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ping you in a few years when you have children. I'm gonna see if your answer is the same.
Why is that?
Because first of all, I don't know what your setups are, but I'm probably, I don't know. I'm just getting used to it. So I'm still standing in like my closet, like between sweaters with like some foam on the door. And I just don't feel as comfortable with the technology. I mean, of course I can adjust my gain, I can, check the levels, whatever, but it also just isn't as good of quality. And I don't think I'm at a point this moment in my career to get a $10,000 mic and, the whole shebang. So I also love the space that you go into, because usually you have even, for Avatar, there's just a whole room dedicated for you to like sit and do voiceover. And I think I just appreciate having more wiggle room, and also the fact that everybody has gathered to just do this one thing. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then I have to throw in that load of laundry and then go to the thing. Like I can shut out those other list items, which I don't think I'm, maybe you all are better at compartmentalizing. But those things like linger when I'm at home, and I always think of them. It's not like, I shut the closet door and everything else goes away. That can happen if I show up at the studio, because I'm like, cool, I'm here to like do this job.
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes there are snacks, and that's cool.
I agree. There's a creative freedom to like, I'm here, this has my full attention, I'm not worried about anything else, I can just fully go. And I do. It is definitely, it feels nicer to be in the booth.
Yeah.
To be like in a studio. I do like some of the trade-offs of like no commute, roll right in here, ready to go, let's go. But yeah, ultimately I think like if I had my druthers, I would say more studio time than at home time.
Like 90-10 or like 60-40? Like how hard do you want to go?
Yeah, like 60-40, 75-25, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm also definitely, I'm not in the like, I'm not, in the like super high volume working every day type of tier. If I was, I think I'd be even more towards a home studio.
Yeah.
But the frequency that I'm doing it, it's like a nice mix. Dragon Prince always records in Vancouver. I'm very curious about that. Like, am I still gonna? I commuted up there for every record for the first 3 seasons. That I could imagine changing. I could imagine doing that whole series here now. But
because right now, aren't we still not allowed, or are we only not allowed if we go in a vehicle, in a car?
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
I totally didn't remember that until you just said that, because Americans had been asked to stay out of Canada during the
Come here.
4 years. I mean, just during the pandemic, had nothing to do with it. Interesting. Greg, what would you pick, man?
Probably about 60-40. I mean, I miss LA. When we moved to New Mexico, it was always, I remember my wife thinking as we were leaving, it was very sad. Endless parade of people crying in my house. And I had always assumed, my daughter lives in, I assumed I'd be back to LA regularly. I never figured that I would be in Albuquerque literally over a year and unable to go anywhere. And I love Albuquerque. I love New Mexico. I was born near here, but I miss LA. I miss the energy of the place. I miss my friends. I miss my daughter. And yeah, I would like maybe about 60-40. I had even figured out, it's like, again, it's about an hour and a half by airplane, but sometimes the last minute you have to be there, it becomes expensive. And I checked, and it's like literally the train leaves Albuquerque at 5 o'clock and arrives in LA at 7 o'clock the next morning. And I thought, wow, that would be great. It's like, oh yeah, sure, I can be there at noon tomorrow. I'll just take
the overnight.
So hopefully soon. I'm double vaccine, baby. I am fully ready to go. I am good to go. As of Thursday, it's 2 weeks after the second shot. So I guess it's,
Congrats.
Are you
95%.
feeling okay? Did you have any kickbacks?
I had the first shot, I had a sore arm.
Okay.
But you know what? The second shot, which they said was the bad one,
Yeah.
the arm wasn't even sore.
There you go.
I have had literally no side effects whatsoever, but I'm 60 and I always feel kind of crappy. So it's kind of hard, if something is actually making me feel crappy. So, for all I know.
I got the first one yesterday. Pretty sore arm, but feeling great.
I'm getting my second one on April 7th, so a week and a half from now. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm 2 weeks after my second shot, so party,
so
man, party.
You're totally good to go.
We're doing it.
You know what's weird though is
Well,
now
well,
that I go out, I don't necessarily want to because I'm so used to not going anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
My wife and I were like, let's go to the store. We don't have to do Instacart. Let's do the store. And we're kind of like, how do you do the store? I forget. How does that happen? What do you do?
Yeah, in Los Angeles or in California, I think April 1st, anyone over 50 can get the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And then April 15th, any adult can get the vaccine.
Yeah.
So
We're getting close.
great.
Let's
We're
go.
really close.
We are getting close.
But please be safe until then, please.
Oh, I double mask, but I also discovered that the fog is less on my glasses if I double mask. So that's why I do it,
Oh.
But the day that I can go into a crowded bar and sit next to a stranger and we can talk to each other unmasked, that's when I know that this is over and done. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, there's no concern whatsoever for the other things that are out there. Like this was, I guess,
Another 100 years, right? Because that's when the last one was. So,
is it?
Yeah.
I'd have to look up when the last big flu outbreak was. But we lose 40 to 80,000 people a year to the flu for the past 100 years. This was the first time that we've taken drastic steps, and the flu numbers have been obliterated because of the precautions that we've taken for COVID.
Right.
I'd be happy to see mask wearing during flu season. I think that would be fantastic. I'd be very happy to participate in that.
Or for it to be completely acceptable that if you're under the weather to mask up.
Right.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we need financial support for workers to stay home when they're sick. That's all things that hopefully this will improve.
Just public, general respect. I mean, when I was in Japan and even in Hong Kong, people wore masks all the time, during public transportation in the morning, or if you felt sick, then you maybe wore a mask or you stayed home. And also just not leaving trash everywhere. There's this general public respect that exists in other places that doesn't exist here the same way.
Right.
And that's a way deeper conversation for every single human in America. But it's, I think it is going to be normal for a lot of people to start seeing masks more regularly just during, sick seasons, or when it's, a little crazy out and maybe there's a little outbreak at school. And, I think we'll probably see more of that now.
Yeah.
That's my hope. If I had one PSA, it was, and I've done a lot of studying of what did we do last time, and the big flu epidemic that happened. There was a third wave because once they started to lick it, people went, "Yo, back to life as normal. Let's open everything." Businesses drove a lot of the return to normal, and there was a third wave that happened as a result of. And I gotta tell you, if you look at a chart, we're right. Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. So
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, this is possibly a slightly unpopular opinion, but Mother Nature has an interesting way of keeping things balanced. And I know that lots of people think so many things are tragic whenever there is a hurricane, whenever there's a tornado, whenever there's a pandemic like this. But there are so many of us on this earth right now. We're just depleting so many resources. And so I just think it's interesting what comes around and kind of knocks us down as a curveball when we're not expecting it, just when we start to get all high and mighty and be like, we're in charge. We know what we're doing. We're planning out, 200 years into the future. And then nature just goes, really? So it's fascinating. Just kind of seeing this, like you said, kind of history possibly repeating itself, but also how there's a kind of a cycle to it, and how every time we kind of feel like we've got everything under control, quote unquote, then something new comes up.
Yeah. If you ever want to stream, I would love to jump. Have you ever looked at the kind of the ideal society blueprints that are out there for, like, the Venus Project? I think is what it's called.
I don't think so. No.
Well, if you ever want to stream in regards to that topic, because I'm very much a fan of, like, okay, what are we gonna do? Like, this should be a wake up call. This should be like a big deal, and life shouldn't look. The whole idea of, like, going back to normal to me is really, I'm very nervous about that, because before we were killing a lot of people that didn't look like us. We were.
Oh yeah, there's plenty.
The ERA's never.
It's like we're going back to normal because the shootings are up. That's how we can tell, which is a horrible statement on this society.
Yeah.
It should be a new normal as opposed to going back.
Wiser normal, but I fear it will not be.
We're gonna really get there, but we're gonna try.
I like that idea of a wiser normal. I appreciate that, and I hope the advent of the internet, the advent of everybody having their own Twitch, everybody having their own YouTube, means that more voices can be heard for longer periods of time. Yeah. Okay. Well, I just looked it up, Jack. If you're going to Canada for any sort of optional reason, you will be denied entry. So I'm going to go back through the questionnaire and see if I click different things, if it will say yes. But if you are entering Canada from the United States, the answer is you will be denied.
Yeah, I don't think there's any effort to get me up there right now. I think when those records start, I think we'll certainly be starting from home and then figure it out over time.
With us, so now that's just a perfect time to just keep that closed.
Yeah, they'll take the excuse.
Well, but it will be like much less of an excuse and more like the Canadian government isn't interested in Americans visiting.
Yeah.
Gosh. Man, it's not giving it now. It's giving me, if you're providing medical services, moving essential goods, a technician or a specialist, a law enforcement, commercial fishing, member of the Canadian Forces. Oh gosh.
Commercial fishing. That's the one, Jack. Commercial.
Yeah, that's my way in.
I think
That's the way.
I did actually, very weirdly, right, like 3 months before the pandemic, I went to Canada to shoot a commercial in which I was fishing. 100% true. I did a fly fishing commercial.
You've got documentation now.
So I have done some commercial fishing
Now,
Funny.
in Canada.
for a U.S. commercial or for a Canadian company? Like, who was the?
It was a Best Buy commercial. Yeah, they were shooting in this like beautiful valley in the middle of like right above Vancouver. It was fantastic. Squamish Valley. It was lovely. I had a fantastic time.
What was Best Buy selling? That's an outdoor product.
They weren't. The premise of it was like a Best Buy employee like popping up to help you in all sorts of different situations. So it was like a couple guys fly fishing, talking about like not having locked their house, and then a Best Buy blue shirt pops up to pitch us like. So we were just out there fly fishing. They brought us up like a little bit early, and we got like a day just out on the river with a guide, like teaching us how to fish, and it was like. Wow, beautiful time. It was amazing.
Amazing. Great. So did you get to be the Best Buy employee, or were you one of the fishermen?
I was fishing, so I learned how to fly fish.
That's awesome.
It was amazing.
Cool.
I had So that was my commercial fishing.
Oh, that's amazing. I use that because if I went back for work, it says you will likely be allowed to enter Canada. However, final determination will be made by a government official at the port of entry. So, like, when you're landing, then they'll decide.
It's fine. I don't have to go right now. I have a booth right over there.
A closet, man. A closet.
All right, I was just trying to get you there in Vancouver, Jack.
I mean, I do love Vancouver. It's a great time.
Oh, have you been to the convention center?
No. I've never been there for a convention. I've only been there for work stuff.
It's right
for different work stuff.
Yeah. It's right on the water. It's gorgeous. You've been to downtown Vancouver, though?
Yeah. I'm sure I've seen the convention center. I think I was staying for this commercial. I think I was staying right next to it, and there was a Backstreet Boys concert. And I was like, if for some reason we finish early tonight, I'm going to see if I can get some last minute tickets to the Backstreet Boys. I did. Didn't happen.
Love the Backstreet Boys. Okay, if you could go. Well, we're going to. Greg, where's the next place you visit?
L.A. We're hopefully we're planning on going to L.A. in June to see our daughter.
Fantastic.
Just to see friends and just maybe. Oh God, I love the wines on the Central Coast up at Paso Robles. I'd love to go wine tasting, but it's actually day drinking. That is actually what it's called.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Oh, what it is. So, have you driven up and down one?
Oh, absolutely, many times. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, James, where are you going to go?
Hopefully I'll be doing a trip to Denver to see my parents.
Yo.
You know, they're getting up there, and my mom has some health issues, and I haven't seen them in about a year plus. So I'll be traveling up that way.
Okay. Many prayers for you and your family for sure.
Thanks.
All right, Michaela, where are you going?
So actually, it was funny because I was thinking of the places that we'd want to go to, like, travel like abroad somewhere. But actually, we're going to Indiana first. Yep. My grandfather is turning 80, and my grandmother wanted to do a little kind of surprise, but she's going to tell him like a week beforehand that we're all coming.
I hope he's not watching this.
I know.
I hope your grandpa doesn't frequent Colorworld.
He does not use any of the technology. It's all of my grandmother. She has an iPad and a MacBook and things, and he like solitaire on the computer. That's it.
She's turning the volume down right now. She's turning the volume down.
So yes, we're going to Southern Indiana, and that's the first time that boyfriend will be meeting the grandparents and the extended family, and we're bringing the puppy. So yeah, it'll be a joyride.
What month?
May.
Oh man, if you need a stopover, well, it might be south. Well, if you need a stopover, you let me know. We moved to Iowa.
Wow.
Well, because that's where we could afford to buy a house. So don't be too jealous, because only in the states where nobody wants to live.
Because prices, I was like just juggling with like this 700,000 number. I was like, okay, there's like good houses in like Northern Hollywood. Like I can deal with 700,000. And now it's like you have to pay at least $850 to get anything that's remotely normal looking. And I'm like, why? Anyway, sorry, tangent. So yes, we're going to Indiana, but I think our layover's in Texas. So I think we're flying. Oh yeah, we're flying because we're gonna both be vaccinated. And so
because we drive around with all this stuff when we do conventions and it weighs thousands of pounds, they wanted like $2,000 to like take it on a like a semi tractor trailer between conventions, and I was like, I don't roll that deep. Like
I'll just drive.
Yeah, so we drive. So in my head, when someone says, "Oh, I'm going this," I'm like, we'll just drive.
We drove across country, for coming to Los Angeles, and then I drove to Texas to get the dog. So I'm like driven out. Except I might want to drive and come visit you, Greg, before at some point.
New Mexico is awesome.
New Mexico is beautiful.
It's really an excellent, the chillest state of all. I truly.
So pretty, so chill.
I love New Mexico, and you guys all have to eat it. Holy cow! I know I say it every time you're on, Greg, but I'm pretty sure.
Yes, we talked about it. Yes.
Get that fried avocado on there, you guys, and the fried egg.
Fried avocado.
The food here is also spectacular. I love it here. I do miss LA.
Okay, Jack, where are you going?
Canada.
Canada, yeah, I gotta go do some more commercial fishing. I think me, my wife, and our daughter, like some sort of close by trip as soon as we can, like a Santa Barbara or Palm Springs, just have a like relaxing weekend, and then going back to Massachusetts to see my nieces and some extended family would be a high priority.
Oh,
as well. And then Vegas. I gotta go to Vegas sooner rather than later.
Okay.
I love Vegas. I'm a
I
Vegas
still
person.
have been as an adult, and Alexander has never been, and we want to go. We want to go with everybody.
Vegas.
Fantastic.
Okay, can I just book all of you now? I already booked Olivia and Gray for Level Up Expo in 2022. Can I get a commit from all of you to do?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's the big Vegas one, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard it.
That's
great. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I'm literally calling them after we're done. I'm like, all right, I have the entire cast. Are you? Yeah, I'm gonna get on because the guy that owns the convention is awesome. Like he really is a cool guy. We were always scared to do Vegas events because you're like, why would someone go to a convention in Vegas when there's also 5,000 other things they could do in Vegas? But they did such a good job, like building Level Up, and there's such a participatory experience in Level Up, and there's a lot of gaming things. Let's just say it's so awesome that Chris Sabat goes out with no guarantee every year to Level Up Expo because it's just the time of your life. The fans are great. Like, I love it. You guys will have a blast. All right, so we're gonna get that booked.
I love Vegas. Vegas doesn't always love me, but I love Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas and I have had some stern disagreements for sure.
Our relationship is complicated.
Do you have a favorite? Okay, great. You have a favorite place to stay in Vegas?
Oh, I like. I'm old school. I like Caesar's Palace. I like
Okay.
Caesar's Palace, because it's
All right. James, what's your poison in Vegas? Where do you stay?
I stay at. I wrote a book called Still Life Las Vegas, and it's you write a book. So it takes place at the Venetian. So I have a very soft spot for the gondolas there. So.
Okay, Michaela, where are you staying?
I don't know. I stayed at the Excalibur when I was 10, and I don't know.
Oh, you gotta go back.
Because that was one of the only kid-friendly places. So I don't know. I have no idea which one I'm gonna be pulled towards as a 20s woman. So we'll see. I'm open. I'm open to suggestions.
Okay, Jack, where are you staying in Vegas?
Caesars is a favorite of mine as well. And then when I go with big groups of friends, we always stay at the Flamingo. That's become Flamingo's great. That's become our staple.
Why? What do you like about the Flamingo?
I don't know. It just sort of became. It's like a center strip. It was a good middle ground price for. It was a good this is we're all it's comfortable enough, but we can get 10 rooms on a floor and all be kind of stacked up on top of each other. It's not gonna price anybody out. And then it's just central and convenient. And we spend a lot of time at the was previously Imperial Palace, now the Quad, and that's right by there. And it's right behind it is Ellis Island, which is our favorite Vegas dive spot. It's it's an old casino hotel that has $3 in-house beers and always has a $5 blackjack table, which is a requisite for us and then the big draw of it is it has the worst karaoke in the world. And we go and they'll do the karaoke till 6 a.m. and we just stack it up, and that's once a trip we always do that. So Flamingo's got good proximity to some of our staples.
Okay. Flamingo. Keep that one in my back pocket. That sounds fun.
You said Ellis Island was your dive one?
Ellis Island, yeah. Although it's gotten a little nicer, sadly, in the last because me and this group of friends have been going since I started going on Vegas trips with friends before I was even 21 and could even do anything, and I would just hang out in the hotel room while people older than me did stuff. But then we've been going for close to at least a decade. So Ellis Island has sadly raised its cleanliness.
Not the dive that it used to be.
It's not quite the dive.
Well,
but it's still a great time.
Have you been to Boulder Station?
I don't know Boulder Station.
Boulder Station would be another one that would probably, although it's rated 3.5. I'm so cheap, you guys. anything above $40 a night, I start getting uncomfortable. There's a lot of places that are like $30 bucks, $40 a night.
Last time I went for the first time, I stayed in Old Vegas at El Capitan or something, maybe, I forget. But Old Vegas is definitely cheaper and pretty cool still, and it wasn't too difficult to, like, you know, then just hop a cab onto the Strip and
totally. Man, I'm excited. I can't.
So much Vegas talk.
I know. Yes, John.
I'm sorry. I get sucked into any Vegas conversation.
You do.
Definitely, my like digital footprint really overrepresents how much I'm in Vegas. I talk about Vegas every time we're in any of these things, and I, haven't been for like 3 years. I don't know.
Oh man, well I'm excited for
That's not true.
To be there next year, because it's going to be Level Up Expo is just such a good time. It'll be great to have everybody together at in-person event. Okay, thank you guys so much. As always happens, every time cool people get together, we have to say goodbye to each other. James, what a pleasure. Thanks for coming, doing this first event with us, man.
Hey, thank you for introducing me to this world. So.
Oh, good. And it's Michaela, Jack, Greg. Always good to see you guys.
Yes, it was great to see you.
Great to see y'all.
Great to meet you, James.
Hey.
Everyone, good to see you guys.
Be on the lookout. We'll be announcing when the Dragon Prince event is going to happen. It'll, for the first time ever, we're going to have an online event about an in-print thing. So everybody will announce it with plenty of time for you to go out and get your copy if you haven't read it. And then it'll be something to get us all hyped for the next season of Dragon Prince, which is going to start as soon as they let Jack into Canada. So,
for his commercial fishing.
Yeah.
For his commercial fishing. I love it. Thank you guys so much for joining us.